WFMY News 2 breaking news now.
Breaking news right now on WFMY News 2 at noon. Right now we're learning new information about a fight in Winston-Salem that ended in a shooting.
Yeah, at a park. The assistant chief is speaking now.
We're on the way to investigate that fight. The call was upgraded to a shooting. Officers arrived to Leinbach Park and located multiple gunshot victims. This far in the investigation, we've been able to determine, and I'm going to release what we have confirmed at this point, that 2 juveniles agreed to meet at the park to fight. During the fight, a firearm was discharged, which resulted in multiple victims being shot. As far as suspects and victims, we have identified numerous people involved with this investigation. However, we are still determining their exact involvement, whether they're suspect, victim, or witness. The purpose of this statement is the safety of our community is always at the top of the Winston-Salem Police Department's list. So again, this is what we have confirmed right now. We are still, our detectives and other personnel with the police department are still actively investigating this. Once we have more confirmed information, Chief Penn will do a news conference and update the community and everyone that has an interest in this. As we know, this is a very big topic for the community. I will tell you the schools are safe. If parents wish to pick their kids up from school, they can do so at the school. As far as Jefferson Middle School, there will be an alternate route. We ask that they enter the school from Peace Haven because the entrance at Robin Hood is blocked. And that is all we're going to release right now. Again, Chief Penn will give a more in-depth news conference later. Thank you all. There were several victims. We're not going to talk about fatalities. Again, we're still investigating.
Schools are safe. That is the foremost important piece of information we want to relay, as we just heard a news conference with Assistant Chief Jason Swaim of the Winston-Salem Police Department on the heels of what he said was a planned fight involving 2 young people, 2 juveniles. We don't know their ages. It escalated into a shooting at Leinbach Park. He said there are multiple victims, but did not elaborate on the extent of injuries, any possible deaths, or the ages of those involved.
Yeah, those people involved are still working to determine who exactly are the suspects and who are the victims. But as he mentioned, all students are safe within their schools.
All right, we have live team coverage throughout the area. This all unfolding in a very busy area of Winston-Salem on Robin Hood Road. The assistant chief was just speaking from the Ace Hardware just down the road from the Robin Hood YMCA, where earlier we saw police tape. People were sheltering in the YMCA. There was also a secure hold at 2 schools, Jefferson Middle School and Mount Tabor High School. Those 2 schools, as we just emphasized, are now back to normal operations. But if parents want to pick up their children, they're being encouraged to do so from the Peace Haven Road entrance. Again, a lot of Robin Hood Road is still blocked off right now as this investigation continues.
And right now we're bringing you team coverage. We do have our Amber Lake at the park, and Hannah Hill is at the media staging ground where we just had that news conference. Let's go ahead and check in with our live crews. Let's head out to Amber Lake, who is at the park.
Lauren, Megan, yeah, we're here at Leinbach Park, and it's still completely blocked off and taped off. I mean, there's yellow tape literally just covering the entire outline of the park that you see, and there's multiple police officers that are just walking through this entire area. I mean, it's been like this for a while. We were able to see this helicopter. Maybe you can see it through the trees right now. That's a State Highway Patrol helicopter that's been circling this area for the past 30-45 minutes or so. I mean, we saw a entire group of parents earlier who were trying to pick up their children from Jefferson Middle, and they're shocked. They are scared. They told me that they have been in situations like this before here in Winston-Salem, and they don't know how to feel about this. Obviously, like we have mentioned, the schools are safe right now, but a lot of these parents, these grandparents, just want to pick up their child and take them home. I was able to talk with one grandparent who said that he had actually just gotten home from work earlier this morning. He was taking a nap whenever one of his grandkids came and started pounding on his bedroom door, saying there was a shooting. One of our siblings is in the area where the shooting was. And so he said that he got up, he got dressed, and he immediately came out here. I was able to talk to him earlier. Let's see if we can play that soundbite for you.
I just think it's kind of tragic at the end of the day, because it's the younger kids that are losing their lives and getting injured in these situations. And at the end of the day, it's probably senseless. I don't know the facts, but it's probably something that could have been averted. And I just think as a community, we all need to get together to help solve some of these issues that may be driving some of the youth to this type of anger or hostility, whatever's going on. It's senseless.
And I mean, look, we're still following this helicopter that is continuing to circle the area. Again, this all happened on Robin Hood Road. They just reopened this road not too long ago, so we do have a lot of traffic going back and forth. So if you are moving in this area, you're driving in this area, be mindful of that. But this is an active and ongoing situation, and like we've talked about earlier, so many people are scared. So many people just want to make sure that their child is safe. Again, we just heard from Winston-Salem Police. They just had that press conference earlier. They said that there are multiple suspects and victims in this, so we're just hoping for a smooth resolution in this case, guys.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction too. They believe this was isolated and a circumstance that warrants reopening the schools right now, but they have not necessarily said whether they have every suspect in custody. And as the assistant chief pointed out, they're still trying to distinguish between suspect, victim, and witness in this case because it seemingly escalated so quickly this morning.
Yeah, and as you can see in the video behind Amber, there were helicopters in the sky. They do have drones out there as they continue to search for all who are involved. So they're asking anyone with their own drones not to fly them at this time.
Another note, this happened at Leinbach Park. As a parent, I've heard of this park in Winston-Salem. It's known for its battleship replica. So if this had happened on, say, a Saturday afternoon, like the gorgeous one we just had, this situation could have been even worse than what it is now. And we're still trying to figure out how bad it is. The assistant chief stopped short of elaborating on wounds or the severity of injuries or whether anyone is dead. We are continuing to stay on top of this. As we look at the map here, if you're just now joining us on WFMY News 2 at noon, we're looking at where this occurred, Leinbach Park, not far from the Robin Hood Road YMCA, adjacent to Jefferson Middle School, and also not far from Mount Tabor. This obviously brings back a lot of very dark memories for families of Mount Tabor, having dealt with that deadly shooting back in September of 2021.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, and it wasn't that long ago that we had that deadly stabbing at Carver High School out in Winston-Salem. So a lot of families on edge right now. Let's go on out to WFMY News 2's Hannah Hill. She's on scene where we just had that news conference. Hannah, I know a lot of new information just coming in. Walk us through what you learned earlier.
That's right, Lauren, a whole lot of new information, as you mentioned. And one thing I really want to point out is if you're not familiar with this part of Winston-Salem, it's very busy. And the number one word I could use to describe the past hour and a half I've been out here is simply chaotic. Amber mentioned it, State Highway Patrol, choppers, we've had drones, we've seen multiple agencies represented here and several cop cars just zooming through this area, heading to the impacted area. And we are at the Media Staging Center, and what I think is really standing out to me about where we are right now and the message from law enforcement is we're supposed to be here because there were so many people involved that it was dangerous for the media to get that close to the situation. So that's why we're a little bit away. And if you pan the camera this way, as far as we can get to the situation is that YMCA, and we've been told by police to stay right here. We're in, you might be familiar, Little John's Tavern in that parking lot right now. I was able to walk up this strip a little bit earlier this morning, and the YMCA is blocked off. The intersection up there is blocked off. I talked to a few businesses on the side, and it's really bringing back those feelings and the emotion of the Mount Tabor shooting that happened a few years ago, which was absolutely tragic. I talked to the insurance company down here, and they said they heard about 10 shots, 2 of them specifically closer to who worked in offices closer to the side of where this situation unfolded. And they just said to me, pow, 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 10 times is what they heard. And then the one lady told me she had chills just run down her body, and once again, reminding her of that Mount Tabor situation. And when I walked up to the insurance company, the guy standing on the outside said we had the doors locked, but I just came out because I got a call on the phone from my mom, who was in the YMCA when all of this happened. Of course, that was a hard call for him to take, knowing that his mom was so close to where this fight broke out. So all of this, as the assistant chief just said, a planned fight between two people happened and then apparently escalated into a shooting. And again, I clarified with him, several people, we have several victims here, and we don't know to the extent of which their injuries are. So we have several of those. The gun was discharged, numerous people involved, as Megan mentioned. Do we know who's a suspect, who's a victim? Just still trying to figure out all of that information. And what this seems and appears to be to me is just so many people involved in this situation. Maybe it was something that was circulating to do a meetup to where lots of people would have been there. Of course, this is a Monday in the middle of the school day, so you would think people at nearby schools would be in class, but those are still just details we're all working to understand and figure out. They also said Chief Penn will come out here. We don't know how much time that may be, if he'll be here in 10 minutes or an hour, but we'll be standing out here at the staging center waiting for the chief to come and answer all those remaining questions that we do have.
Yeah, a lot of anxiety this morning. I know when I got the alert about it, it's like, here we go again. It was just a few years ago, the Mount Tabor deadly shooting happened. A few months ago, that deadly stabbing at Carver High School. You know, when it comes to our students, you think that they're safe in the schools, but we're just living in a different world today.
Yeah, you know, Hannah mentioned that this happened at a time of day on a Monday when students would have been in class. High schoolers would have been sitting down for, I believe, first period around that time. Remember, it's a staggered start time, elementary, then middle, then high school. But we want to emphasize Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools has not said whether this fight involved any of its students. We do know that all the schools are being considered safe. That's what we heard from Assistant Chief Jason Swaim a moment ago. They had lifted their secure holds that they had in those two schools earlier. This is creating a traffic situation in a very busy part of Robin Hood Road.
Yeah, we do have a few closures. I want to go ahead and pull up our traffic map so we can break some of that down for you. Right now, we're learning several parts of Robin Hood Road are currently closed. We have, well, it looks like our traffic map just glitched. There we go. Norman Road at Robin Hood Road, is currently closed. And then we have Sally Kirk Road at Norman Road currently closed. Robin Hood Road does remain open in other parts. However, traffic is significantly congested. So avoid the area if you can. We'll keep you posted when these intersections start to reopen. Let's go over to our Ben Briscoe, who's doing some social listening. Ben, kind of break down what you're seeing online.
Throughout this investigation, Winston-Salem police have been keeping us updated. They said the best place to get those updates is on X. Here's what they just posted. Again, this is an isolated incident and remains under active investigation. They go on to say that several individuals, both victims and suspects, have now been identified and located. But really important here, due to the number of people involved, efforts are ongoing to account for everyone. They're not sure exactly how many people are involved in this yet. They're still looking. They still got the drones up, the helicopter up, so avoid the area if you can. On those posts, we're seeing some comments from people like Deborah, who wants to know when we'll be able to pick up our students from Mount Tabor and Thomas Jefferson. Well, here's the answer for Mount Tabor. Mount Tabor High School update. Class is operating as normal. There is no need to pick up your child, but if you want to, just bring your photo ID and show up to the front door. You can pick them up there. You can also pick up at Jefferson, but they do say, again, class is normal. Students are safe. No need to worry about your kids in school.
So a lot of unanswered questions here, but what we know right now, two juveniles, they agreed to meet for a fight at Leinbach Park in Winston-Salem, and that escalated. We know that there were numerous people involved. As far as the victims and their injuries and how many people were hurt, we're still looking to find out that information.
Yeah, but again, all students safe at school at this hour. We'll be right back with much more live team coverage.